Hello and welcome to the first edition of Journalists Hangout. This week, I am Kemi Fola Adeyemo. Today on the program, governorship election throws up surprises across Nigeria. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Gani Kayode Balogun. Journalists Hangout starts now. Well, former American President Theodore Roosevelt once quipped that a vote is like a rifle. Its usefulness depends upon the character of the user. So millions of voters who trooped out to vote in Saturday's governorship and State House of Assembly election in Nigeria have used the polls to make a bold statement by maintaining and deviating from certain voting patterns. The governorship election threw up surprises across the country, while voters upturned the power equation in states like Kwara, Gombe, and Oyo by voting into power new parties. Those in states like Lagos, Borno, Yobe, Akwa Ibom, and Cross River kept faith with the ruling parties. In our analysis on party chances on the program last week, our regular Babajide predicted the likely outcome in some states. Well, most states, I should say. Let's start with Kano, where the APC is about to lose its control of the northwest state.
If the result of what's the outcome of last week's presidential and National Assembly election is anything to go by, would that in any way change the equation or rub off, or would there be what we call a bandwagon effect in Kano State, Babajide?
There's always bandwagon effect in most elections, but the dynamics will change as far as the governorship elections that we'll have on Saturday are concerned. For example, amongst Kwankwaso supporters, many of them did not want, from the beginning, did not want to vote for Atiku.
Kwankwaso supporters?
Yes, many of them did not want to vote for Atiku. The commitment of most of them is the governorship contest. They didn't, so a lot of them voted for Buhari. They didn't want Atiku.
Well, the presidential election might be a different ball game from this.
Completely. And we have seen it in the past. When immediately Buhari lost the election in 2011, the people were so disappointed, they were not interested in the governorship. They set ablaze their voter cards. So to think that, oh, because people voted for Buhari that time, no, it's not like that. I'm telling you that Kwankwasia members, many of them refused to vote for Atiku because, as far as they are concerned, if they had to make a choice between Atiku and Buhari, it has to be Buhari. And for many of them, it is the governorship that is the main issue. Because they don't like the governor. Their leader does not like the governor. So their big battle, the battle that they are looking forward to, is the battle for Kano. That's the battle with Ganduje.
Interesting prediction there, and that was exactly a week ago. Babajide and Gani, I welcome you both to the show today. Let me begin with you, Babajide. You just saw yourself now, How then do you react now to what we see happening in Kano at the moment?
Yes, actually, I knew that the governorship election will be a completely different proposition to the presidential election. And in previous programs, editions of this program, I had said that Kwankwaso would prefer to lose the presidency than to have Ganduje continue as governor. So that has always been his preoccupation. And I knew that quite a number of them the Kwankwasia members didn't vote for Atiku, because they've never liked Atiku. A lot of them voted for Buhari. They don't have any issue with Buhari. So if you saw that, 380-something thousand for PDP in Kano in the presidential election, it does not follow that in the governorship election that PDP will be trounced the same way. That was the point that I was trying to make, that the complexion of the voting will be different to what we saw during the presidential election, because for them, the real battle they are interested in is not even the presidential election, but the governorship election in Kano. So we saw that that was what happened.
Which gives one a sense that indeed politics is local, all levels of politics is local. Gani, did it strike you as a surprise as to the Kano experience?
Well, actually not. We know from the moment that the Kwakwasiya broke away from Ganduje's back, that Kano is going to be very tough. The only part of conveyance was Buhari. And once that one has been removed, they are now free to do what they always wanted to do. Deal with Ganduje the best way they know how. And the result is a reflection of the fact that not only those with Kwankwaso, a lot of Kano elites that I've spoken to in the recent past detests the governor. And this is just a reflection of the level of distrust they have for his kind of leadership. It does not take away the fact that the governor is not a pushover, because you all realize that nobody can push him over in his own state, but he's battling against an uphill battle that, if one is not careful, will consume him in this election.
And for those in the Southwest where we reside, of course, that's excluding you both now, where your tentacles, of course, spread beyond. Some would have said, or some would say, where did Governor Abdullahi Ganduje miss it with his people? We know how sensitive now things are in Kano, and we also know how strong politics is, even down to the littlest person, so to speak, in Kano. But what would it be for you?
Well, politics in Kano is very dynamic and also full of surprises. Sometimes the people just decide that, well, this is what our leaders want, but this is what we want to do. It happened to Buhari in 2011. The candidate that Buhari supported the CPC, for the governorship contest for CPC, the people of Kano rejected him. That was the first time that Buhari would be rejected in Kano. They voted for a different person. So, in this case, the numbers, when I started seeing the results from some parts of Kano, honestly, I was surprised. I expected a very tough contest, because the two, both Ganduje and Kwankwaso, they know each other so well, and their supporters are also very familiar with each other. So it's usually very difficult when two members of the same political family are contesting against one another. Well, I didn't expect the kind of votes that I saw from Kano Municipal against the governor. Those are really shattering election results. We've not had the last from Kano, so there's a limit to which we can say about Kano, but this is what is happening for now. We don't know if we can still turn it around, but it seems like a mountain to climb for the governor at this time.
Gani, what would it be for you? We saw towards the tail end now of last year and trickle into the new year now, the two major allegations, now that involve the Governor Ganduje. Could it have been it, or are there some other underlying missteps that the governor took?
Well, you must remember that the closeness between Ganduje and Kwankwaso started when they were in government. And there is nothing worse to some people than people they refer to as an ingrate. So a lot of Kwankwaso see Ganduje as a man who is trying to bite the hand that fed him. Meanwhile, Ganduje on the other part is simply trying to assume the role of the main man in Kano. The issue of the dollar or thereabouts will just be fringes to how the people of Kano really feel about the governor, both as citizens of Kano and as members of the political party. It's not really the way a lot of people are reading it. Even without these two events, the results we get now
still have been the same.
will be the same.
And then, right now, just like you've already hinted and warned, of course, nothing is, cast in stone at the moment. But for the APC now, I mean, what do you think the lessons to be learnt will be? Of course, we are still waiting for the final announcements. But in your analysis, how would it be?
As I always say in politics, friends must stay together. Friends must stick together. Whenever there is some form of disagreement between members of the same political family, it always has unpleasant consequences. And that's what we are seeing across some of the states in Nigeria. Sometimes when we talk about these things and we warn against APC members, especially fighting one another, some of my friends will be saying, why are you always talking about APC fighting themselves? Are you, in PDP, are they not also quarreling among themselves? But we've seen now, the party that is making the bigger gains is the PDP. Because PDP is winning new states. More than the APC is winning new states. So what you need to do is try to stay together. When you stay together as one, it is difficult for the enemy to break your ranks. But when there's division between you members of the same political family, and everyone is pulling in different directions, it is difficult to win an election.
Is that the same way you would look at it? If you will, let me look at the flip side now. For an example like Lagos now, even though the opposition, one would argue, isn't as strong as it is elsewhere. If we look
that's relative.
If we look at the fallout now of Saturday's elections, if I could steer it towards that direction. But what would it be for you? Because as the Babajide said, for the gains now for the party, for both major parties varied.
What Babajide is saying is that there are APC states that refuse to heed the warning that they must close ranks. That does not apply to Lagos. Lagos quickly came together, and even people that we thought were outside the loop were quickly brought in to ensure cohesion. And by the time they go into the election, they are one big family. Don't forget, 2 days before the elections, both the current governor, the past governor, and the now governor-elect were inside the same motorcade, touring Lagos, just to show you a sign of strength and unity. So he's talking basically about states that fought to the death, and not those that quickly come together, realize the fact that they are in danger together and push away the fox, knowing that they will deal with the end much, much later.
Because another way of looking at it is what it means. Maybe that's what I should also say now. Where you think now, how do you think the APC, for example, now should be viewing the example in Kano and elsewhere, and several other shocks, that have arisen?
We've said this before this program. I'll repeat it again. Immediately after every election, there should be an institute to do research for the parties, independent of government. I think PDP had one. I'm not really sure. I don't think APC had any. A research facility to look at how they performed, do a thorough analysis, to apply the SWOT principle, then look forward to how they are going to correct this future. But from a layman's term, we all know the fact that Adam Oshimole came in and decided to enforce party discipline. And some people are so full of contempt for the party, they think they are above the party. So it get to a point that they become two opposites that cannot meet. To get to a point where some governors, while not running away from the party for their own benefits, clearly are supporting another party for other positions. That to me is the highest level of party discipline. So for some people, it might look harsh, but the long-term gain that I see is the fact that the party will have more cohesion going forward. Know fully well that everybody must subject themselves to the rule of the party.
And after this, now talking about the APC now, let's look at the scenario that played out in Borno and Yobe states, where the governorship contest was a sort of walkover for the All Progressives Congress. Professor Babagana Zulum and May Malabuni won the contest by landslides. Let's hear Bajide correctly predicted this last week.
Are the factors that will be playing out on Saturday?
Borno State is a one-party state. What we should be talking about now is the margin by which the APC will win the election in Borno State.
One-party state?
It's a one-party state. It's almost completely a one-party state. PDP has no presence in that state. And what they usually do, you don't even hear about the APC, PDP until election time. They'll go and stay in Abuja. When the election time comes, then they'll crawl out of the woodworks and say they want to contest. Contest what? It's a one-party state. It is the margin of the victory that we should be speculating over, because that one is going to be a walk in the park for Professor Zulum. The winner has already emerged before the election.
Just as you said,
the winner has emerged before the election.
Of course, in Borno State, there's virtually no contest, because in the last election, the APC won with 836,496, and PDP has only 71,788. So now, and as we say, every election is local. If the presidential, which you can say is far away, if the president, who you can say is far away from them, is in Abuja, can get 836,000, what about the governorship? In Borno State, there is no contest. In fact, the governorship candidate is governor-elect already.
Congratulations, Professor Babagana Umar Zulum.
Till Saturday, Julian.
We are waiting for... I'm waiting for the inauguration because he has won. Former National Secretary of the APC, May Malabuni.
Okay, Malabuni.
He will be coming in. I'm congratulating him in advance.
That one...
The case is just like
his case is like
Borno State.
There is no need for a contest. Ideally, INEC should just go and give him a certificate of return. Because May Malabuni has won the election. Before even the whistle is blown for the contest to start, the APC has won the race in Yobe State. It's a straightforward
I mean, the PDP in that state had just about 50-something thousand, whereas the APC had 497. Okay. So what magic will there be to make...
Let's just... that's another walkover.
Yes.
Unbelievable. I mean, and it did turn out now to be accurate, near accurate. If I'm going to be a bit lenient now,
if you are going to be a bit stingy.
You're going to be a bit stingy, right? But that was unbelievable because it was accurate.
Yes, Professor Babagana Umar Zulum scored 1,175,400 votes. That's 94.6% of the votes.
Votes cast.
That's a record. That's a record. I expected a walk in the park. I expected a very easy win. And that's exactly what has happened. The opponent scored 65,653. 1.175 million to 65,653, which is 5.4%. It's just exactly as I predicted. There's no contest. It's a one-party state. It's a one-party state. It's just
like I know go on.
Yes, it's a one-party state. Then May Malabuni, Secretary of the APC, National Secretary of the APC, scored 444,013 votes. His opponent scored 95,703. Honestly, it's a waste of time printing ballots papers in those states when it will be a walkover. The opponents should just surrender and look, we know you are going to defeat us. So let's not bother to get into campaigns, knock our heads against the wall
spend scarce
unnecessarily.
resources.
We know you are going to defeat us, so we don't want to waste our money. Neither do we want government to waste its funds needlessly. So we surrender to you because we know that it's a one-party state. Some of them, even some people as big as chairmen, of some parties, are fond of defecting into this into the APC in Borno and Yobe because they know they are going nowhere. And if you leave the party, you will go and join another party. You will never win an election.
And I saw you, Gani, also agreeing, because you two were not surprised by all that happened. But to the uninitiated, so to speak, it does seem like, quote and unquote now, a followership, almost blind followership for the party and not necessarily for the candidates, or do you not agree?
And once the party has picked the candidates, then it becomes automatic that the person will become governor. Like I said during the intermission, even on the flip side, states like Enugu states go through the same process, where the governor will score about 600,000 votes and the governor will score 10,000. So we have states like that where it's not even advisable to waste scarce resources in contesting. It's obvious you are going to lose. Some may do it to put up their CV as a former...
That they contested.
Apart from that, there are no other gains contesting in those states as an opposition person.
But now we can recall the position that the PDP presidential candidate, Alhaji Atiku, was saying in his protest letter, so to speak, where he said, how is it thinkable or possible that APC will win, landslide winning in states like Yobe, because I recall that the margin there was also considerably high, presidential votes. It makes you wonder, like, it is settled, the case is settled in Yobe and Borno.
Well, the politicians are eternal optimists. They will look for water in the desert. They will look for coal in the snow. It's just the way they are. They always believe that nothing is impossible. So when it makes that case, I do not even think much about it. Because like we said, you can pick states or these 6 zones that are virtually one-party states. And I'm sure they too, when they are doing their strategy, were looking for 25%, not to win those states.
There's no plan to win.
So there's no plan to win them. So whatever he's saying, especially to those states you mentioned, are basically to play to the gallery. Because obvious. That the word for it, if they had won, would have been something else. It cannot be upset. Can maybe call another word that's not in the dictionary.
But then, Jide, going back to what you said when we're looking at the situation in Kano State now, where we talked about, if you would weigh the wins of the APC as against the wins of the PDP. In the case of Borno and Yobe, how much of a consolation do you think it will be for the party, seeing as the party couldn't have been surprised anyway by the victories in Yobe and Borno?
Well, the important thing is that in those places they've stayed together. That's the important thing. And they managed the primaries very well. Governor Kashim, yes, he had a candidate in mind, but didn't show it. He didn't show it until probably the last minute. So we still managed to organize, the party managed to organize free and fair congresses. But in the states where they had crisis, that didn't happen. The governors in some cases were behaving like they own everybody. And in politics, you can't do that. Politics is an interest-driven game, and it's an inclusive sport. So you must get everyone on your side. You must get everyone involved. When everyone is happy, then you are in a strong position to go into the contest. At that point, you can expect to win, not when you are quarreling with one another. So it's a lesson for them that when there is crisis, they must struggle to solve the problem quickly. And when it's resolved quickly, spend even longer time trying to build confidence in people who had been at loggerheads. So that way they will feel that yes, we are reading, singing from the same hymn book.
All right, gentlemen, let's also see another example of predictions made last week for the case of Ogun State, where it was a triumph against impunity for the APC as its candidates Dapo Abiodun defeated Governor Ibikule Amosu-backed candidate, that's Abdul Kadir Akinlade of the Allied People's Movement, the APM, in Saturday's poll. Now, here's Babajide's verdict on this.
Where the APC fails to manage the distrust, the disharmony, the rancor that arose from its primaries, we have this kind of problems. Now, it has taken someone like Jagaban, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to go back to reconcile all the aggrieved parties, including Akala. Then with Akala coming back on board, depending on whether the people will listen to him. If the people follow Akala the way they've always done, then you can say that Ogbomoso's 5 local governments are firmly in the bag. I believe that Seyi Makinde would win Ibadan. I believe, given what's on ground. But he will need more than simply to win Ibadan to be declared winner. There's a potentially tough battle that is ahead. So, but the two parties, or the two dominant parties, the two dominant parties will have to work on Okeogun. And Ogbomoso, Okeogun, those 15 local government between those two zones. The biggest battle, or the biggest battles will be in Ogun Central. Because, yes, Amosun is from that area. But APC got its largest votes in this last election from Abeokuta South, Abeokuta South, which is part of Ogun Central. The leaders of the APC, they are not watching. They will do their best to stop Amosun. Yes, it's going to be a close race, no doubt about it. But the wave of endorsements coming that Abiodun's way, will suggest that he would probably win the election.
In a situation whereby you are a senator, both are senators representing APC. One is floating APM for their godson, and another one is floating Action Alliance in Imo State. Very complex situation.
No, it's complex and it's abhorrent. That is not what should be happening. And if the two governors get away with this, it will look to me like triumph of party indiscipline. And others who join them will probably do worse things against their party. So if they fail to install their godsons, then maybe others will think twice that, look, when we break away from party lines, then the party will come together to resist us, crush us, and then we'll lose. So it's one reason everyone, all the stakeholders are fighting. The leaders of the APC, they are not watching. They will do their best to stop Amosun.
All right, and then we saw how the stakes were high. Of course, days, seconds, minutes preceding to the Ogun election there. Some words stick out. It was, for the APC now, a tough battle for them to ensure that impunity doesn't go without being punished or without them taking a position on it. But before we discuss the situation in Ogun State, let's just take a breather now. We'll be back in a moment. Stay with us. Watching Journalist Hangout on TDC News, and then we want to dissect what transpired in Ogun, and then we'll also talk about the situation in Oyo State. Babajide, how do you analyze it? Going by, you're looking at yourself, you're seeing the results, playing out exactly as you predicted. What would be your conclusion now on the matter?
Yeah, I think that when you look at what transpired in Oyo, I said that Ibadan, the votes of Ibadan will not determine who wins. And I said that the vote from Okeogun has 10 local governments, and Ogbomoso 5 local governments, that whoever does well in these 2 areas, these 2 zones, will carry the day. Now, as I predicted, Seyi Makinde won Ibadan, hands down. Now, he then had to come to these areas, Ogbomoso and Okeogun. Then I said that, yes, Asiwaju had reached out to Akala. Akala had always controlled the Ogbomoso area. And it comes from Ogbomoso North, which is the most densely populated in Ogbomoso land. But I warned that victory is dependent on whether the people will listen to Akala. And we saw from the outcome of this election that they didn't listen to him. So Asiwaju had done his own work. My belief is that his intervention came too late. His intervention came too late. Perhaps the leaders in the party were expecting that, look, things were not that bad, we'll be able to retain the state. But what happened in the presidential election should have been a warning that PDP could win the governorship in Oyo State. He stepped in, he brought back aggrieved people. He spoke to Akala. He got Akala's commitment to deliver the votes. But it's down to the people. If Akala reaches out to the people and they say, no, we have made up our minds, you are coming at the last minute. Every 72 hours to election, you're coming back to us. No, it's too late. If they say that, then there's nothing Akala can do. And in my view, this was what happened, because at the end of the day, he couldn't deliver the votes from Ogbomoso area. And Okeogun too, he could do little or nothing. So at the end of the day, it was an overwhelming win for Makinde.
And there's a name many are mentioning now as to the sole reason why APC, couldn't retain that seat in Oyo State. As it is now, the governor is being touted as the blame.
Yeah, on paper, he's the leader of the party in the state. And despite his massive infrastructural work that he did for the state, people see him more as an arrogant person.
Despite, making history as the governor to win.
But again, you must understand, like Gide said, that Oyo stands on a tripod. And it's just a combination of 2 factors. For example, when he came back, there were the ADC. They were not ADC then. They were, I think they were Accord.
Yes.
On one part that controls half of Ibadan. Then there was PDP that controls part of Ogbomoso and Ibarapa. And then APC, half of Ibadan, and most of Okeogun at that point. So the result for the second time was basically the aggregate of 3 major parties. And the who came in first won. In this particular election, 2 of those forces came together. Femi Lalehin dropped his ambition. Senator Akobi, that he replaced,
Asiwaju worked on that one and he came back.
So it got to a point that
Ladoja went with Makinde, yeah. And Ladoja defeated Governor Ajimobi in 2015 in Ibadan. Out of 11 local governments in Ibadan, he won 7. Ajimobi won only 4. So who is really in control of Ibadan is not in doubt. And then he went to support Makinde.
He went to support, well,
yes.
You can imagine. And then let's look at the last minute moves now that occurred in Ogun State. Another prediction that turned out to be accurate. We saw how the PDP faction went on to the camp of the APC.
Yes.
And then we saw, but then the margin was rather slim in between Governor Amosu's candidate and the APC.
No, he's a sitting governor.
It had to be, and just as we predicted, it will be a very, very close contest. Amosu deployed everything. He saw that his political future was at stake, and he spared no effort to make sure that his candidate carried the day. He even reached out to GNI, a man that all along he had never treated like a valuable politician. He reached out to him like 72 hours to the election and told him to name his price. But at the end of the day, GNI didn't do business with Amosun. Maybe he thought that it was too late. It's unfortunate because I had wanted, I had supported the agitation of the Yewas, to produce the governor of Ogun State. But I think that they also should have been more united in that cause. So at the end of the day, it's Dapo Abiodun that carried the day with the endorsement for Dapo Abiodun here and there, with all the big people coming to back him, with him feeding off the disagreements and the crisis within the PDP. I mean, the outcome was fairly expected.
Yeah, but then some people also said, of course, let's just look at this argument now that, okay, the margin was slim, but then the GNI that you mentioned now, his equation in the whole, or his contribution in the whole equation now cannot be denied. Whether the ADP could have stood, a better chance now if they had, joined forces, because now we are saying, let's reconcile. We're also talking about the lateness of some reconciliation moves now. But how would it be for you?
Well, you and I know that the 60-something thousand that GNI got were not all from Yewa. Some will come from Abeokuta, some will come from Ijebu East, some will come from the Ogun East, some will come from the Central, and some will come from his own area. And don't forget, the highest level of non-indigenous population in Ogun is in the West. You understand? The Aworis, the other areas, like Muwe, you understand? So that's where we stand. So I don't believe that even if GNI has stepped down, it will have made any significant difference in the thing. But it's obvious that 2020 is always when you look back, you can see the picture clearly. But based on results from the past, including what happened when Otumagbe Garden wanted to install GNI himself 8 years ago, it's like history played itself out in reverse, as it were. So I don't think it will have made any major difference, because APC will have picked some of them.
Late in the day, sir.
APC will have picked some of them. APM will have picked some of them. At the end of the day, the result will have been the same.
So what happens now? Of course, we see that Governor Amosun is, of course, has his own plans now when he leaves office. But what happens to him in APC now and in the future?
Well, it's up to him what he wants to do with his political future. He's been defeated. His head is bowed. He has to retrace his steps because in this part of the country, when you step out of the mainstream, you pay for it. You step out of the mainstream, you pay for it. Remember even Jack Conde and some of the other people who stepped out of the mainstream. There's no election they can win. It's like that in the Southwest. So once you step out of that political family, the dominant political family, you step out of it, you'll be made to suffer. So he has the option of making friends once again with his distraught colleagues in the APC, and he can choose to join another party. In any case, there's a suspension hanging on his neck.
That's the point.
Yeah. So ultimately, politicians always find a way to make up. So I'm sure that they will be able to resolve things.
Right, Gani? No permanent friends, no permanent enemies in politics?
Only permanent interests. And Amosun's interest now is to survive. In the last 4 years, he has used his friendship with the #1 man as a cudgel over everybody in the Southwest, and used that excuse to put his nose, if there's anything like that, in politics of other states. So right now, he'll have to retrace his step, go back to his political family, and I'm sure they will make up Don't forget he was in the NPP, then he crossed over to another party, then he went to PDP with Benga Daniel. Now then he was elected as an ACN governor, ending up as an APC governor. So I'm sure he has moved around a lot for him to know the next step to take.
Yes.
All right, gentlemen, let's go to see the situation in the east, Enugu, and of course the south generally, Enugu, Cross River, Akwa Ibom, and Benue. How was the elections projected?
Enugu is a one-party state. Remember, I came back from Enugu and I said that last year, that even if the Deputy Senate President decided at that time to join the APC, he will not be re-elected because it's a one-party state.
It's a no-go area for APC.
That is a fact. That election underlined that fact. Buhari didn't get 25%
there.
Yes. And in this election, the governorship election,
That's between Ayogo and the incumbents.
it will be a rout. It will be a rout.
Senator Ayogo and Governor Ogwani.
Yes, it will be a rout. That's my prediction. So Enugu, for me, is very easy. In fact, it's easier for the PDP to win in Katsina than for the APC to win in Enugu State.
Ebonyi State is another one-party state.
But now the APC is doing well there, and people expect a close contest. People expect a close contest.
One seat that governor.
The governor should still have an edge in the final analysis. I will still give the governor a slight edge, no matter what happens.
Professor Ayade is waxing strong, and it has always been a PDP state. From 1999, from the time of what's our presidential aspirant name? Donald Duke. From Donald Duke to Uncle Liel Imoke, from Liel now to Professor Ben Ayade, and so it's like a natural enclave for the People's Democratic Party.
I believe so. It's a PDP state, and it shows even by elections that were held last year. PDP won, so it's a PDP state, just like Taraba. So I expect the governor to return, although APC has really worked hard in that state in the last, but they are also not helped by the infighting. You see, their candidate and Uguru, going to court, this and that. Uguru at the last minute lost the battle. Who knows? And Uguru has even been suspended. So it's likely to tell his supporters to go and vote for the rival party. So
the next state is Akwa Ibom. Uncommon defector, uncommon senator.
Akwa Ibom is godfather to both of them. Sima Ikiri and Udom. They both served on his cabinet. The truth is, Akwa Ibom is PDP. I said it here before. They can play back where I said it. That Akwa Ibom's impact is exaggerated. And that election proved it. Out of 10 local governments, Akwa Ibom lost 8. Akwa Ibom, the PDP will win in Akwa Ibom. Maybe the APC will do better than they did in the presidential.
In terms of figure.
Benue,
Governor Otom, giving it a shot again.
yes, Governor Otom is seeking re-election, and
He has retired.
I'm confident that he will be re-elected. I've heard people say all sorts that, this is the time that Akume will stop him. Since he stopped Akume, Akume will stop him too from being re-elected. If an incumbent governor was so strong enough as to defeat his own godfather, and not only was his godfather defeated, his godfather was defeated by a wide margin. His godfather won only one local government in the entire senatorial zone. So people don't put all of these things together because they are just about emotions. No, politics is not simply about emotions. This man will win the election in Benue State. It's not about emotions. We may not like him as an individual, we may not like his methods, but if the people want his methods,
His own people.
if his people want to continue with him, so be it. That's the beauty of democracy.
I think some people in Benue State are not happy with the PMB-led administration.
Yes,
How
and they are
they
also not
handled-
happy with the way Akume appeared to
want to be the
throw his own
Lord.
people under the bus.
Yes.
Because there was an incident where he claimed that Benue people were responsible for the killing
Of
those
yes,
clerics.
the clerics.
A lot of people are not happy about that. They are not happy about that. And I warned on this program that he shouldn't have spoken like that because it could backfire. Let him go back and play what I said on that day. That it could backfire, it could get the people to vote against him. And that's what has happened. So I project that Governor Tom will be re-elected, no matter how slim the margin.
A lot of weighty projections there, but if we could start this segment now with the Benue example, going by the latest development where elections have been declared inconclusive in Benue State, do you still stick, Babajide, to your predictions?
Very much. I commit 100% to the prediction that I made that Governor Tom will be re-elected. He has 81,000 votes ahead of his challenger.
Right.
There is 120,000 at play between both men and maybe other contestants.
Yes.
There is no way that Jime will first surmount this 81,000 and then go on to add like 40,000 to it without the governor recording any votes. What he needs to do now is to score, to before he can win this election, is to not only surmount this 81,000, but to now go. And where does he get the 81,000? He will get it from 120,000. So he must first take 81,000 out of this 120,000 without the governor taking anything, and then add more. You and I know that this is just an academic exercise. It's not going to happen. In fact, if they are not careful, what happened to Mama Taraba will happen again, whereby in the rerun election, the lead, the top candidate will increase the gap between him and second place.
Is that what you foresee as well?
Yeah,
Gani?
first, I think before the next elections, Nigeria should write a book of predictions. That's what I think. But when it comes to the Benue thing, I think it's clear cut that the figures do not follow the ambition being laid out by the opposition party, because it's almost statistically impossible for you out of 120 for the governor not to get at least 20,000. And 20,000 pushes him to 100,000. And that means whatever other projections you are making, he has topped the threshold.
But where does this fit into INEC's, rationale for declaring elections inconclusive? Where does this fit in if it is seen now that the governor is leading across the local governments?
But the governor is leading. He has not won. That's the difference. That's the reason. There's something we call unsurmountable lead. When you have an election, where the man cannot be caught. And then...
No, it can't be caught.
And that's the...
If it was close, like between Tambuwal and his rival in Sokoto, the lead is a little over 3,000. Yes, you can have hopes that maybe that person can overtake. But someone who has 81. We've seen this thing before, even in Kogi, the rerun election. This was how INEC pushed everybody to go and do a rerun. They said, okay, the margin of victory between Faleke, Audu Faleke, over the second placed PDP was actually higher than the... Yes, higher than the cancelled votes. So they now organize a rerun in the areas where votes were cancelled. But what at that time, a lot of them did not even have PVC, because they just look at registered voters in that area. A lot of them did not have PVCs. Some of those places have been overrun by Fulani headsmen in some weeks to the election. So they didn't. At the end of the day, Yabelo needed only 5,000 votes to become governor. Just 5,000 votes, where we were thinking of about 48,000. So these things sometimes is just a waste of taxpayers' money. Look at what happened in Ondo State. The senator, the second PDP senator elected, he had a lead of, I think, about 26,000 votes. And you are asking for a rerun. We knew that his opponent would not be able to surmount it. And that's what happened. He's been declared winner now. So he just wasted everyone's time. So in this case, this Tom should have been declared winner. But if they say that, okay,
they have to
they
walk
must do
the
a rerun,
process
fine.
through
We will sit here.
to the letter
We will be here
and be back.
to talk about him winning again.
Time has gone, but I just want us to dip into the South-South example and what the APC really needs to do to increase its hold in APC. In Akwa Ibom State, in Cross River State, Babajide projected that the fact that the Akpabio had joined the league of the APC, it couldn't have been sufficient now to break the firm grip that the PDP has in those states.
Ashwaju once said it, that Ashwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that you are the aggregate of your supporters. It's wherever they are going that you will go as a leader. Or else one day you will look and there will be nobody behind you. That's what happened to Akpabio.
They didn't go with him.
He was a lone soldier and his troops had gone behind by the time he looked back.
And the figures say that Mr. Nsima won in only Akpabio's local government. Yes. The majority went to the governor.
And that is with a lot of intimidation, even our cameraman, our reporter, Ademola Lawrence was beaten up by Akpabio's supporters. Our driver was almost killed.
The entire TVC crew, yes, indeed.
So even that place that he struggled to win, it was all because of intimidation and all that. I heard the VP saying that it's impossible for Akpabio to lose. Akpabio will lose if they do 100 elections in that place. I swear to God, Akpabio will lose because he's not as popular as the VP thinks. I don't know the people who mislead the VP.
It's a media creation.
It's just Akpabio is not as popular as they think. If you could only win out of 8 local governments in your senatorial zone, you struggle to win 2, and one of the 2 is your own local government, AC and Udim, and you won with only 1,000 votes. Is that popularity? You are struggling to defeat your opponent, and then you are beating people up, beating journalists. No, I mean, it's not right. Let him, he has lost the senatorial election. Let him contest the House of Reps election. Let us see again whether he will not lose. At that point, when he becomes a serial loser, the VP will now know that Akpabio is not as popular as he has led the world to believe. He was saying during the caucus meeting of the APC that everybody had become APC
but that doesn't appear
I now
to
looked,
be,
I said, how can somebody
case?
be telling a bare-faced lie like this?
But
the masses have spoken. And people can see who indeed is popular.
And that we saw playing out, not just in Akwa Ibom Cross River, but indeed elsewhere.
The power,
indeed, the power of the vote. And of course now, that's totally unacceptable. I saw Demola a while ago, and I could still see the impact.
His face was swollen on Saturday.
Still swollen up.
Beating people up in the name of election. Why
well,
now?
That's our 7. Right here, we've had our say. Thanks to Babajide, Kolade Otutoju, thanks to Gani, as usual, for a robust conversation from you both. That's our 7 on Journalist Hangout today. You could join us tomorrow for another episode of the program, but watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on other platforms showing on your screen now. YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. We'd love to hear your feedback. Just go to Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. Thank you very much for keeping us company right here on TVC News. I'm Kemi Foladiemo. Bye for now. God bless Nigeria.